Now I'd like to turn to Martin Brechbiel, MMR, for his knowledge about scratch building. Martin, welcome.
Good evening, or something like it, depending on where you are.
I loved your article, by the way, in the Mid-East Regions publication. I just got mine. That was a great article.
Oh, okay. Unmute myself. Am I unmuted now?
Yes,
okay.
you're unmuted.
Oh,
you've been
okay,
unmuted.
Great. Let me see if I can share the screen.
You should be able to.
And there it goes. What do you know? It worked. Close that. Come on, slideshow. There you go. Okay. Basic structures. More of the same, only different. Well, completely different this time. Because this we're going to build a basic cabin or company house. Very simple. Very also, again, following in my same philosophy of the past year of using up, consuming leftovers and scraps and whatever to make something constructive out of it. I don't throw any scraps away. They're all in little scrap boxes, Ziploc bags on the one shelf, and I'm desperately trying to consume that stuff. I've gotten rid of a lot of it, but of course, as you build something, you make more. Tonight, we're going to start with this. A scrap of scribe siding, a door frame, a window, and a stovepipe from Banta. I assume that's a Grant Line door and frame. I couldn't begin to tell you because it came that way. I had a shoebox full of windows and doors and stuff. Probably picked it up at a show and just threw it on a shelf, thinking someday I should use this for something. Well, someday came last year. Well, it came about 365 days last year. So I have a lot of consumption of leftovers. So out of this is the starting point and the rest of the scrap boxes. This is the design phase of the whole build. I need a wall that will accommodate a door and a door frame, and a wall that will accommodate a window. We'll see where it goes from there. But first we'll take a left turn here over to, because this last week we talked about scalpels briefly. And these are the scalpels I actually have on my bench right now this week. We got a pair of number 10s. The one with the green on it's the one with the older blade. This is a number, these are 3 number 11s. That's the oldest one with the red on it. This one's brand new. I just like this funky handle because it's kind of delicate, and it reminds me not to stab myself in the hand with it when I'm using it. This little thing here is a number 15. Someone was throwing away a couple of boxes of number 15 blades, and I thought, I'll try them. And I find it really, really useful because you have this little curved blade, but they're really, really useful at cutting stuff off of sprues. So you're cutting freight car parts off of casting sprues. So you can get in there and cut a nice diagonal so you can clean it up nice. And this is a number 22 or a number 23, which is on the bigger handle. So this just gives you an idea the size of these things. You can go metric or not. It's up to you. But those are the ones I use, and this is the work surface I use. This is actually a piece of 1/4-inch piece of glass. It's 20 by 30 inches, 21 by 30 inches. It's 1/4 inch thick, and it's on top of a piece of carpet foam. Keep it nice and keeps it from smooth running around and moving or shifting, and keeps it kind of level. This piece of glass was actually salvaged from a window from my house in Pennsylvania when we rebuilt the windows. This came out of a window that my grandfather built. There's 3 panes like this. So I actually have 3 of these in my shop, this size. Still has the black electrical tape he put on it. Okay. This is how I store cyanoacrylate glue. CA, because people want to know how to store glue. This is just a basic tightly sealed plastic tub, and you can see top comes off, and this, I don't know what this window is here, but this is a an open bottle of CA. This blue stuff in the bottom is what's critical. This is a desiccant. It's a color reactive desiccant. It's calcium sulfate. And if it goes bad, it turns blue. It turns blue because the cobalt chloride in it. I'm a chemist. Sorry, we have to talk about chemistry now and then. But when the cobalt complex picks up water, it turns purple. So it has a color indicator in it to tell you when your desiccant has gone bad. And if your desiccant's gone bad, it's time to get new desiccant because your CA is going to go bad because your CA is very sensitive to moisture. So putting it in the refrigerator, which everybody keeps saying, is a great idea as long as it's tightly sealed. And when you take it back out of the refrigerator or freezer, you got to wait until it's back to room temperature before you open it. Because if you open it before that, all you're going to do is suck in a lot of moisture into that cold cavity above the glue, and it's going to condense in it, and it's going to trigger the polymerization of the cyanoacrylate. So you can store it in this kind of container, tightly sealed. You can get a mayonnaise jar from Funk and Wagonall's back porch if you can steal one. But you can store CA in this open for a couple of years, and it won't go bad. And you can buy this blue stuff. It's commercially called Dryerite. You can find it on eBay. People are selling it all the time. It's not expensive. Okay.
Hey, Martin.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a small window underneath your presentation? Maybe that's why it's causing that to move this window away.
I've got no window under my presentation.
Hmm.
I don't know why that's there.
Yeah, it's for some reason it's thinking that there's another window there.
I can't even get to the other windows. I'm locked out, but I'm sharing.
Gotcha.
So we're stuck with that. I don't know why that's there. That's weird. Yeah, strange. Okay, and I wanted to point out glue tips. I use these very long, very, very fine tip. That's that's about 1/10 of a millimeter inner diameter on the end of that tip. So you have incredible control over how much, because you can see this is crystal clear. You can see the actual flow, and you can actually control it very, very carefully. So you don't make a big mess. The other benefit of this is if you have this tiny little aperture, you're not getting a lot of moisture to go back into the tube either. So this prolongs the life. I leave my glue on my bench for years without capping it or closing it. I just have a glue tip on it and don't worry about it. I haven't had a bottle of glue go solid or go bad in 5 or 6 years. And I've gone through 3 of the 2-ounce bottles in the last 3 years. Okay, back to building something. There's a piece of scribe siding. This is all just scrap wood. Some board and batten. Hey, how big is it? It's big enough for the doorway. Well, we'll put a roof on it, a reasonable pitch. You put the window here, you could put the window over 2 or 3. Just put it, put it where you want. There's no rules. Okay, one thing you have to do here, this is board and batten, you have to take away the battens because then the casting, if you don't take out the battens, the casting won't fit down flat. So that's just, you to just cut that and cut that out, cut that across with your number 11 and lift the batten boards off with a number 10 blade and they come up nice and clean. And now your castings fit down nice and smooth. Oh, close-up picture, forgot it was there. So there you go. You can see that they're removed. And this floor, well, you can just see it's pieced together from leftovers, spliced together, glued up, wood frame around it. There's your foundation, front and back, framing all around it. Because from that, well, we glue that down to the floor. Here's that scribe siding again. Front porch. Some more board and batten. Well, board and batten doesn't come wide enough to cover this distance. So you have to edge glue it together. Just got to be careful that you keep the spacing properly or you're going to have an odd spaced board. It's a nice curl in it, but that goes away when you glue it down. which you can see what happens here. You glue it down, put a board across the top, ridge boards across here. You're going to glue a roof on eventually. And it's all glued up nice and tight. We'll put a porch roof on. So this is a porch roof. It's a scrap piece of scribe siding. It's a finer size. I think it's a 16th inch. Some scrap, whatever these were, I don't remember. But that's the framing for holding that porch roof together. Some post material, and this little piece here is going to hold it on in the back here for it to rest on. Well, fast forward about 5 frames. And here are those 4 posts. The castings are in, they're painted gray. This is roof red, I think it's actually, or earth red, I've forgotten which. Some kind of buff here for the front. This roofing material is paper. This is from Clever Brothers. And it actually looks pretty good. From even up pretty close, it looks pretty good. But from a distance, you follow the 3-foot rule, it's hard to tell what it is. It looks good. They make really nice products. This is my brand of tar paper. It comes from Panera napkins that I cut up. I happen to just like the Panera ones because I like the texture pattern in them. And it gives me an excuse to go to Panera and get a sandwich. But that's just painted lark dark gray. I like that color as opposed to grimy black. I think grimy black is too dark, and I like the gray, or the lark dark gray and lark light gray. And there you front view of it. Got to put a bit of black paint on the doorknob so you know there's a doorknob there. And here's that smoke jack. Well, a coat of polyscale steam black. And this is a washer, like probably from my drawer of 632 parts. It just happens to be about the right size to fit around here, so you get a nice flange. Again, you got to carve out the batten so it sits down flush on the boards, but it fits on there nicely. And what secures that is some goo and some CA mixed together. You slide it right in there, hold it, count to 10, it's not coming off. Oh, count to 15 if you count fast. So there's that roof again. And I really rather like this stuff. And when I run out of it, I'm not going to feel happy about it because I don't know if I can get any more, but I think it does a pretty good job at fooling the eye. And if you back up a few feet, it's hard to tell what that's made out of. My wife took a look at it, wanted to know where I bought it. And I said, well, it's paper. And she was very surprised that you could get something in paper that actually looked this good.
What kind of paper do you use, Martin?
Well, that's Clever Brothers.
I know, but how thick is it?
Oh, it's no thicker. It's not much thicker than a regular piece of paper, print paper. It's actually pretty thin. It's a little stiffer. It's a little stiffer on weight, but it's not very heavy. I mean, you can see I've got the edges curled down. Just rub your finger over it. It curls right down. So it's pretty lightweight. So you just cut that out. It comes in a long strip, and you just cut this out. I use a scalpel on a piece of cardboard just to cut it out, and you try not to overlap too many seams. It comes with this roof pieces. That's another long strip. So you don't have to make that up. It actually cuts provided on the page. So it's a really nice product. And I'm done.
Martin, I got another question for you.
Sure.
Ballpark, how much total dollars do you have in that building?
I don't know. I got more time than I have dollars in it. I don't know. The problem is when you buy, so this is one of the key things about working with your scraps. Because when you buy a pack of scribe siding, well, you got to buy 2 whole pieces from Northeastern, at least. So there's I don't even know what that costs anymore. I haven't bought any in 15 years. Same story with the board and batten. So parts wise, it's a couple of bucks. You know, if this is $10 of parts out of my parts bin, I'd be shocked. But if you have to buy scribe siding and board and batten new, it could be $20. And a pack of paper. Well, you don't have to use the Clever Brothers paper. You can go to Panera and get a sandwich and get the paper you need, and be as frugal as you want on that front. And as for a smoke jack, well, you can make that out of brass tubing too. You don't have to buy a casting. I think one of the future ones, future buildings, I ran out of leftover. That was one of the last 2 or 3 of the smoke jacks I had, and I decided, well, how hard can it be to make one out of brass tubing? You cut a 45, solder it back together, get a little piece of shim brass, put that over the top, solder it on, done. So it's not a hard thing to do. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Any more questions from anybody? There's where to find me if you need to find me.
So you said you got that corrugated paper in a sheet. I mean, you didn't print it out then, or?
No, they sell it. They used to sell it pre-printed.
So it's like corrugated. It's not flat then.
Oh no, it's flat.
Oh, okay. It just looks corrugated then. Okay.
It's really good at fooling the eye.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to sell a lot of different types of roofing materials. I think one of the future builds, I used one of their tar paper, which is really nice.
I like Clever Models. They got a lot of good textures and stuff.
Yep, they got a lot of.
Well, now everything they do, you have to print off.
Yeah, well, that cuts their costs down a lot, but so you got to have a decent printer, and I'm fortunate enough to have a nice laser jet here that I sneak in and use when nobody's looking, because technically it belongs to the government, but we won't tell them. You didn't hear that from me. It didn't happen. Never happened. Okay, so
I bought all of their textures that they have, and they work pretty good. You can even modify them a little bit if you got a program. Change the color a little bit or make them lighter, darker. That's what's nice.
So you can play with them in Photoshop.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's
or
cool.
If you want a little bit bigger brick or something, you just make it, larger a little bit and a little bit bigger,
You can stretch it a little.
Right, exactly. But
It's good to know. It's good to know. I guess you could do that. I guess you could do the same thing if you don't have Photoshop or a comparable, and you could do it in other software. I use several online photo processing sites, which are free,
Right.
so they're
Yeah.
handy to have.
well, and what I've did as well is like if you want to make some, top pieces for like brick for windows, you can like cut them apart in a program and then, kind of stitch them together and give you a long strip of them. Works out pretty good too.
It's good stuff. Good tricks and good products to play with.
Yeah.
Well, Martin, thank you so very much. It was really helpful, and we appreciate it so much.